Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more.
Robert Rivas Radio, and at this time I'd like to welcome three-time Grammy Award winning David Lee Garza to my morning show. Good morning, David Lee.
Good morning, Robert. How are you doing?
Okay, amigo, how about yourself?
Good. After that little taquito de tripas, I'm doing better now.
Man, I saw you eating the taco of tripas, and I said to myself, that just kind of reminded me of fiestas right around the corner, man.
Yeah, it is, man, and all you do is drink and eat.
Amigo, I can remember back in the day when I was DJing at T-Town. I'll never forget this. It was a Saturday night, and you guys were performing at the TTMAs at the Tejano Music Awards. That's when they were showed the awards live, and T-Town was empty. It was around 8 o'clock, 8:30, but yet you guys were scheduled to perform at T-Town at 10:30.
Right.
And by the time you were done at TTMAs and you came to the club at 10 o'clock, we were slammed. Everybody was waiting for David Lee Garza y Los Musicales.
Those are good old days, ¿verdad? Yeah, we did a lot of shows there at T-Town, and for the TTMA también, you know, and it was great. The fans, it's good. The fans come from all over. I mean, you name it, a city or a state, and you'll find people there. My boss, Danny Levinson from T-Town, he had his favorites, which was Selena, Moss, and David Lee. He would always say, man, David Lee, man, that guy, man, he knows how to bring in the crowds. We're very blessed to have great fans. We have a very strong fan base, and we're very blessed to, everywhere we go, I mean, gracias a Dios, you know, up to now, the people come out, and the people, sometimes the fans that we haven't seen in years, but of course they get married and have started having kids, and then the kids get a little older, and then they start coming out, and then they bring the kids, so that makes us feel good.
There you go. Amigo, born and raised in Poteet, Texas.
Born and raised, I was born in Jordan, at the hospital, because Poteet, no, hospital at the time, and then, but I was raised in Poteet all my life, went to school, elementary, junior high, and high school, graduated there, and then I stayed there. You know, a lot of my friends, they moved on, and moved out to big cities and smaller towns. But I don't know, it must have been the water or the strawberries. I just stayed there.
David Lee, when did you pick up an accordion and say, you know what, this is what I want to do?
At an early age, my dad, Tony Garza, paz descanse, he was a musician himself. He played the bajo sexto, he played the accordion, and he always had a band. He always had Tony Garza y su conjunto, or he would join another band, and I would always tag along with him and go to all the dances, and I was just in awe, you know, how they produce music and made people dance. So one day they would rehearse at our house, and the guys left the set of drums there because they were going to rehearse the next day or whatever. And my dad went to work, and I got on those drums. I just wanted to see what it was about. And I started messing with the drums, and then when he got home, I told him, Dad, I think I know how to play the drums. Oh, really? Let me see. And I got on the drums, and I started playing the little bit that I knew. And he says, oh, yeah, it's pretty good, put this record on, tomorrow put this record on. And I would always listen to Conjunto Bernal, Los Hermanos Ayala, Los Cachorros, Los Relámpagos.
Wow.
That's what I would listen to, and so I started playing along with them. And then after a while, it got boring to me. And I tell the drummers, playing drums is kind of boring. They look at me, yeah, right. It's a lot of hard work. It's hard. I look back at my brother, and he's all sweating, from top to bottom, because it's a lot of work. But I said, no. I told my dad, what, Dad, I want more of a challenge. And he said, you want a challenge? Here. He went to the closet, picked out an accordion, took out an accordion, and gave it to me. He says, here, you want a challenge? Learn this. And I said, well, how do you do that? And he said, I'm going to teach you one polka, and after that, if you're going to learn, you're going to learn. So he taught me Nuevo Laredo, una polquita bien simple. And after that, I had to take it on my own. I had to listen to songs on the records, on the radio, and just copy them, learn them from the big guys, from the Bernales and los Cachorros, los Relámpagos. So at an early age of, I would say about 10 years old, I started playing the accordion. 11. Me and my dad, we started gigging right around Poteet, the Poteet area, quinceañeras, bodas, backyard parties, wherever they would hire us, we'd go play.
Isn't that something? David Lee? And the rest is history.
And the rest is history, yeah.
So look, amigo, now you know how to play the accordion, ¿verdad? And so you get your band together. Where does the name Los Musicales come from?
For the longest time, we ran with the David Lee Garza y su conjunto, and at the early stage in 1968 to 1978. At 1978, we hired Mr. Ram Herrera to sing with the Musicales. Well, with the band, era David Lee Garza y su grupo musical, because it wasn't a conjunto anymore, because we added a sax and a guitar, and we said, well, let's name it David Lee Garza y su grupo musical.
No keyboard yet.
No keyboard yet. So we go to record it at Hacienda Records in Corpus, and the guy said, what's the name of the band? And we told him, David Lee Garza y su grupo musical. And he looks at us and he says, y'all need a name for the band. Well, what do you mean? That's our name. No, but you need a name, just a name. Look at Roberto Pulido, Los Clásicos. Look at Al Chavarria, Grupo Mayo. Oh, okay. My brother Adam said, you know what? We're already El Grupo Musical. Let's add ES to Musical, and that'll be Musicales. So we started calling ourselves Los Musicales.
Now, performing in front of the crowds when you first started, did you get nervous?
Yeah, a little bit. I was a little nervous, but since my dad and myself, we started playing, like I said, at bodas, the quinceañeras, backyard parties. Eventually, I wasn't nervous anymore, Of course, when you're going to start to play, yeah, you're a little nervous, but not nervous enough that you throw up or say, I'm going to cancel, I don't want to play today. No, so it gets easier.
I can imagine, man, como te digo, when, it really doesn't matter who you are when you first start. I mean, it's okay if you're in the living room, or estás en el portal doing it by yourself, but when you have people looking at you, man, and you got to get a little nervous, no?
What's scary was the only time that I really was nervous and scared when we played the Alamo Dome, when we did with Selena. Selena was a big draw, and we opened up for her, and when we got in the middle of that stage, that Astrodome, I was like, wow, and we started playing, and I couldn't hear the reaction of the crowd, so I was kind of bummed out a little bit. I said, I don't know if they're getting off to our music or not, because I can't hear them, At a dance you play, and you can hear your music, and you can see the people dancing, having a good time, and when you're playing at a big venue like that, you're so far away from the crowd that you don't know whether they're liking it or just not even paying attention, but very blessed that I guess they liked it because we're still here.
You know what, David Lee? You're so right. Let me tell you why. Porque I've DJed at many bars, clubs, T-Town, so on and so on. And I've always known, porque you're talking to Mike, say a joke or whatever, you see people reactions and whatever, and you're good to go. Now that I'm doing internet radio, tiro un chiste o algo, and I'm just looking at a computer. I don't know if they're laughing or cutting me off. You have no reaction, ¿verdad?
It is, yeah. So about the same thing. I was going to ask you, how do you react?
I'm just like, hey, I'm looking at a computer screen, man, and I'm saying, I just told a joke, and I'm just hearing the crickets, man. I'm waiting for Buddy Holly. I tell you what, David Lee, let's take a break in the action. You're listening to Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more, and I'm here with David Lee Garza.
Hi, I'm David Lee Garza from the Musicales, and you're listening to Robert Rivas Radio.
Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more, and I'm back here with David Lee Garza y Los Musicales. Well, David Lee, and of course, he is Los Musicales también, ¿no que no, David Lee?
Los Musicales ahorita están descansando.
Arrastrados, dice. Now, David Lee, I was talking to you earlier, and, I'm a person, too. I like going for a couple of beers every once in a while, and we talk music. I hang out with Ramiro Burr, some other buddies, and we start talking music. And one thing, when we start talking about David Lee Garza, I've always said, you know what? David Lee Garza is the Carlos Santana of Tejano music. And they look at me like, well, Robert, you're already drunk. That's what I do. And I go, no, it's the truth. Carlos Santana has survived so many years, decades, with different vocalists, different singers, and so has David Lee Garza. And you know what? These people don't disappear. Carlos Santana doesn't disappear, neither does David Lee Garza. Isn't this true?
Very blessed, very blessed to have two different singers come through the band. Ram Herrera was like our first vocalist, and when he came in and he stayed with me like 3, maybe 4 years, we put out 3 CDs. So one comes and one goes, and but what we were talking about earlier, I'm not the first one that does that. I always look up to El Conjunto Bernal. I would buy their albums since 1968, when I first started in the music. And we hadn't recorded yet or anything, but I would buy their albums, and I would see that every album that I would get had a different vocalist, a different singer. And I'm not by far comparing myself to Conjunto Bernal, but, that's where the idea came. I said, if, Conjunto Bernal survived all these years with different singers, we're not going to give up, just because Ram Herrera left the band or Emilio left the band or whatever. I said, we have to keep on going. This is what we love to do. Maybe that's the reason that we stay afloat. A lot of people say, what's your secret, to staying, on top of your game? And I say, well, it's no secret, it's just you change singers, and you get different fans besides the fans that you already have. So that might be the secret.
It's so different seeing a Ram or a Jay or a Marcos Orozco up there and singing songs that we know, we know them as performing them with David Lee Garza, recording the songs on the CDs of David Lee Garza. It just, David Lee, it's not the same without seeing you up on stage with them. It's just a big difference, man.
Well, I've been to the performances, the Ram, the Emilio, the Jay Perez, and they'll do some of the songs that we do, and to me they sound great. They sound great, but I'll have some fans come and say they don't sound like those musicales. I say, no, musicales are the musicales. We just been together so long that we produce this music, that comes out. And when you hear it with somebody else, you hear the same songs of the musicales with somebody else, of course it's not going to sound the same.
The beauty of them, like a Marcos Orozco, Jay Perez, Ram, Emilio, is that although they do have songs with David Lee Garza, they blossom with their own hits as well, ¿verdad?
Definitely, yeah. It's a learning experience. When all these guys came into my band, at the very first, cuando Ram Herrera, Emilio Navarre, it was a learning experience for all of us, for them, for us. And nowadays, say we're still changing vocalists, and I tell the vocalists right away, the first thing I tell them, we've been around the block here, we've been together 40 plus years. This is going to be a learning experience for you. I hope you learn something from this, and take it with you, after you're not with the musicales anymore. You can make decisions, based on what we would do at the time, So hopefully it's a learning experience for all these guys.
So you kind of, on these separations, breakups, however you want to put it, you try to keep it as friendly as possible.
You do. I mean, we learned a long time ago with Mr. Ram Herrera. Se pasan los años, and then, you meet up with them again, and you invite them to sing a song, or they'll ask you, can I sing a song with you? I'll say, yeah, sure, why not? There's no hard feelings, You did what you had to do. We did what we had to do. You supported me. I supported you. We paid bills, and vice versa, So no, it's always a good thing to see them at a later date, and get up on stage with you and sing the songs that they used to sing when they were with you.
It's funny how, when there's a breakup like that, like with Jay Perez or with Marcos Orozco, de volada is chisme. Everybody starts talking, this happened, and no one's ever going to know unless you were there, part of being los musicales, and it really doesn't matter, David Lee, but I bring it up porque, the business of music, el negocio de teniendo un conjunto, un grupo, it's a tough business, man.
It is very tough, and there's always three sides to a story, your side, his side, and the truth, So eventually the truth comes out, or even if it doesn't, pero as long as you have a good relationship with them, everything is going to be great.
Do you think that out of, and I hate just keeping these four intact, but these are the ones that I feel that were your strongest, was Ram, Emilio, Jay Perez, and Marcos Orozco. Each one had a different kind of relationship with you, ¿verdad?
Yeah, we did. All they're so different, Cada cabeza es un mundo, decía mi papá. Y hay que batallarse. So yeah, batallamos con unos, with most of them, pero because everybody's set in their ways. They got their own ways of doing things, and going, when we go play at some place, at a different venue, they have their word. They'll let you know, I would have done it this way. I would have done it. Well, you're going to have your chance. When you have your band, you can do it any way you want.
That's right. That's right. But no, I'm thinking about this right now, David Lee. I just thought about this right now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, you got Ram, Emilio, Jay, Oscar G, maybe Marcos, maybe not so much, but you got them when they were first starting out. True, in a sense?
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much all of them. Marcos was with Fabulosos Cuatro for a good while, and the funny story there is that we were playing in Grand Prairie at a place called the Hi-Ho, and we played along with Los Fabulosos Cuatro, and Marcos was singing with them, and my dad was still with us, and I think, I want to say that Jay Perez was singing with the band. My dad approaches Marcos and tells him, se presenta con él, yo soy Tony Garza, el papá de David Lee. Dijo, and if you ever looking for a job, you come and talk to me, dijo, and you can be our next singer. And I told my dad, what do you want to do that? ¿Para qué quieres desbaratar un grupo allá, como los Fabulosos? Those guys are great musicians, great friends. And my dad, no, yo no me le ofrecí chamba. And I said, okay, well, it happened like a year or 2 years later. Marco comes looking for us, and told my dad, well, you remember you offered me a job? And my dad said, yeah. He said, yeah, I offered you a job. And you want a job? He said, yeah. So that's where Marcos Orozco came in, the musicales.
What would you consider was your hardest transition from one singer to the next one that you can say, you know what, con este aquí, it was a little bit harder than the other ones?
Yeah, with Marcos, when Marcos came in the band, I had Emilio, Ram, Jay, real strong voices. Oscar G had a strong voice. Y cuando vino Marcos Orozco came in the band, his voice estaba más lenta, más romántica la voz, you know. Y dije yo, I don't know if this is going to work, you know. This was my dad's idea. And I said, I don't know if this is going to work because, you know, he doesn't have a strong voice. But then he grew on us, you know, and it took like 2 or 3 CDs for the fans to get used to him singing Jay Perez song, Ram Herrera song, Emilio song, you know. And he came around, and he developed his own style, which he already had. His voice is his voice. He's got a beautiful voice. And he's one heck of a songwriter también. So that helped us out a lot, you know. All his songwriting that we put on our CDs, you know, that helped him, and it helped us a lot.
You know, David Lee, one thing I found out about Marcos when I used to work with him at Catalina Records was, before that, when I would see you guys perform, Marcos seems like a real quiet person up on stage. Bien tímido, bien quiet or whatever. But if you get to know the guy, that guy has jokes and this and that. He's nothing like he is up on stage.
Oh, no. Nos fuimos unas buenas parrandas a ver que mi papá at the ranch. Yeah, my dad, we would go play on a Saturday, and Friday night, if we didn't play Friday night, we'd go over to Marcos' house. He lived right behind my dad and my mom. And my dad the next morning would say, did y'all have a good time last night? I said, yeah, why? I could hear you on the muscle. You had bass, boom, 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 you know. And so y'all were getting down last night. Yeah, yes, we were.
I think that's a difficult part when you build relationships with your band members, with your singers and whatever, and then you part ways, no?
Yeah, it is hard. It is hard, you know, because you get into a routine, you know, always hanging around each other and everything. Billy O'Rourke, my Bajo player, always brings up a good point. We'll play Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday we were off, and we look at each other and say, well, tomorrow we're not playing, but let's barbecue. And Billy always comments, you know, he says, man, like the good old days, like the days before, you know, we'd barbecue on Sunday, bring the wives, the girlfriends, and everybody, and have a great time. And you know, that's gone now, right? I said, yeah, I guess so. We're too old, and after a weekend like that, all we want to do is rest up on Sunday.
That's true, man. That is very, very true. Now, 1392, Jay Perez. Talk to me about the CD.
1392 was a great CD for us. Con el Tiempo, the one right before that was Jay Perez también.
Yes.
You know, and we just happened to stumble to some great songs. You know, songwriters that would send me songs, and they fit the band. You know, sometimes I get a lot of songs, Robert, that are good songs, but if they don't fit the band, I'm not going to record them, but not because we're not going to do no justice to them. And so I'll get a lot of songwriters, hey, well, you didn't record my song. You recorded so-and-so's song. You recorded Robert's song, but you didn't record my song. And I say, well, you know, you got a good song, but if it doesn't fit the band, you know, our style, you know, it's kind of hard to do.
You're not going to keep everybody happy, are you?
No way. No. There's hardly, I don't see that happening.
With the 2 CDs that you worked with Jay Perez, was that a tough separation?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we're on top of the game at the time, you know, and we had gold records on both of them, I believe, and we had never done that. It was beyond our wildest dream. When we first started playing and selling CDs, and we sold 500, we were happy, and to sell on 1392 to sell 50,000 units, you know, is like unbelievable for us, you know. So yeah, it was a great time in our life.
You know, Abraham Quintanilla came out with a statement when I did an interview with him, and you know, and I asked him, when did you feel the transition where, you know, you were playing for small little congalitos and whatever? When did you see the transition to where you knew that you guys were at the next level? And he said, when I started seeing the crowds, when I started seeing more and more crowds, I said, if the crowds are out there, that means that the sales are there as well. True?
True. We were really looking at the sales ourselves, you know, but you would see the crowds grow bigger and bigger, and we'd sell off the stage, our CDs and stuff. And if you sold there, of course, you're going to sell at the record shops, at the Walmarts, and eventually, you know, the record companies would tell you, here's your statement, you know, how many CDs y'all sold. So when you saw the big numbers, it said, okay, price just went up, you know. The crowds were there for us.
David Lee wants 2 tacos de tripa, not just one anymore. Man.
That's right.
Now, Con el Tiempo and 1392, I've always seen those CDs as greatest hits, man. Sin querer. I mean, they were just each song on those CDs are hits, man.
Yeah, we were just lucky to get those songs. They're great songs, great songwriters that gave us their songs. And it was hard to duplicate. After that, what do you do after that? I don't know. So we're still looking, songwriters and good songs.
Now, there was a problem with 1392, the artwork, if I got this right, to where Coca-Cola used your image or something like that, where they didn't ask you for permission. Something like that happened. What happened there, David Lee?
Yeah, that's what basically happened. We show up to the Tejano Music Awards one year, and there's a likeness. There's a poster with my likeness on there, and I said, well, I don't remember posing for them. This is for our 1392 cover. So yeah, it was it got a little nasty there for a little bit, but then at the end, we remained friends.
Awesome. Let's take a break in the action. I'm with David Lee Garza. You're listening to Robert Rivas Radio.
Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more.
Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more. And I'm back here with David Lee Garza. David Lee, you've had hit after hit after hit, greatest hits after greatest hits, CD, Sin Querer. You guys are on fire, man. David Lee Garza y Los Musicales. What is the feeling, man?
A great feeling, man. Every time we get on stage, and we project dance music, Robert. We don't go up there to put on a great show, que andamos brincando, gritando, y esto otro. I see people dancing. If people are not dancing and they're just there standing staring at us, that makes you a little bit nervous. And I say to myself, are we doing our job? Maybe we're not doing our job, because we like to see people dance.
I can remember, I totally forgot about this right now también. Juan P. Moreno was part of Los Musicales, right?
Juan P. Moreno, yeah, he was with the Musicales right around the 1392 era. He helped us out there with some songs and his bajo playing.
And of course, he moved on to doing his own projects, right?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, he's great. He made his own band and then moved to Monterrey and had a band over there and is doing great. He's still doing good.
What was your first record label?
The first record that we ever put out was Las Brisas record label, and then también a Redondo record label, which was our friends Los Aguilares. They had a label called Redondo Records. So we paid those first two companies. We paid for them to record us, and then put something out.
And then from there, what was it, Hacienda?
Yeah, Hacienda. Yeah, we went to Hacienda.
And then the big boys.
And then the big boys, the Capitals, the Sonys.
EMI Land. I know you were with EMI Land for how many years?
Oh, man, several years. I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 years, something like that.
Was it a big decision for you to move from EMI to Sony?
Yeah, it started getting slow, and then, as an artist, you feel like, well, they're not paying attention to us, We're here, carrying the flag, working real hard, and a young band comes in the picture, and they start paying more attention to them, which is fine. We need new blood. But it was just the time that we said, maybe it's time to move on, and our contract ended, and we parted ways as friends todavía.
And it's a tough deal. Like I said, I was with EMI Latin as well, and you get accustomed to working with certain people there at the office, with the band members and so on and so on. It's kind of like a family kind of a deal. So when you part ways, you feel it, right?
You do, because you get used to hanging around the same people, and going to lunch, having a little beverage or whatever, and listening to your new project that you brought into the office, and then to not see them anymore, you go to another company and see new faces, and you really don't know how they're gonna accept you, or if it's gonna be the same as it was before.
David Lee, I'm gonna move forward here just a little bit here and bring up when Emilio Navarra got in that wreck. I think it was up there in Houston, if I have it right, on that bus wreck when he was driving the bus. I know times are tough where people sometimes gotta try to take it up on their own when finances are not there the way they used to be. How did you feel when you found out about what happened to Emilio Navarra?
I felt bad, I think everybody felt real bad, what happened to him, and the financial part of it was scary, more scary than anything, and his health, primeramente, but he weathered it and everything, and thanks to all the prayers, he came through.
It's muy importante, don't you think, that whoever's driving your bus, your van, you better make sure he's very well rested for that long trip, no?
Definitely, yes. Up to right now, our bus driver, we get to our venue, and he gets us there safe, and I ask him, are you going to go in for a little while, listen to us, And he looks at me and says, no, I'm going to go to sleep. And I said, good decision, So he'll go to sleep, and he'll be rested up by the time we leave.
That's right, because if they screw up on the road, everybody else is along for the ride.
Exactly, he's got lots of lives on his hands right there, and we always travel at least 12, 13 people on a bus.
Fíjate.
So that's 12, 13 families that are counting on him to get us home safe.
So now we got Ram, Emilio, Oscar G, Jay Perez, Marcos Orozco. Who was after that?
Joey Martinez. Joey Martinez is a friend of ours. He was from Pecos, Texas. He auditioned, sent me a CD, and we listened to him, and we said, let's run with this guy. He sounded a little bit like Marcos. He didn't have a strong voice, but he had a real good voice. So he recorded one of the CDs with the Musicales, 2020. So we ran with him for at least a little bit over a year.
Okay. And then after that?
After that, Mark Ledesma. I think Mark Ledesma came in the band, and Mark, sang back up with Jay Perez, and it came to the point that he wasn't with him anymore. And I said, hey, what happened to that guy that used to sing back up with Jay? I bet you he can sing, lead, because he used to have his own band back in the day. And we got his number and tried him out, and right away, we said, we're going to run with Markel. We'll call him Markel now, Mark Ledesma.
But you know what, David Lee, all respect to the singers who you've had, but at the end of the day, man, it's not Los Musicales without you being on stage, and that's the truth, amigo.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I do gigs, sometimes my brothers will go on retreats and stuff, and we pick up a bass player, a drummer, or keyboard player, and the show must go on, and everybody tells me, as long as you're up there, it's still Los Musicales. And I said, there might be a little truth to that.
Have you ever had a scary situation on the road? Something that happened on the road? Something that maybe brought you back to reality a little bit?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, on the road, our lives are always in jeopardy there, And one day we were playing in Dallas or Fort Worth, and after the gig, we're going to go to a friend's house to go eat some menudo. Well, this drunk driver was making a turn and it ran into our bus, and that was scary. It hurt. We heard like when you crush a can, an aluminum can, you step on it. That's what we heard. But of course, the driver and the guy that was in the front, they took most of it, the hit and the scaredness there. We were in the back, sitting down or watching TV or whatever. But that was a very scary part in our lives.
We're coming up on 20 years on the anniversary of the death of Selena. They're going to be having a big event in Corpus Christi called Fiesta de la Flor that Corpus Christi is putting together for the memory of Selena. Do you remember the day? Do you remember what you were doing the day everything happened with Selena?
We were traveling from the valley to Laredo when we got word that that Selena had died. We're on the road, and then we get to Laredo to our hotel. And we didn't want to believe it, we went to sleep, and then after a while, it was like 5, 6 in the morning that we get to Laredo. About 9, 10 o'clock, it was all over the TV, the media and everything. And I remember that day, like it was yesterday, we were going to play in Laredo, and we couldn't, out of respect, and it was this is a tragedy, a real tragic, something that is happening in our Onda Tejana, there's no way we can just put it outside and play tonight. So we canceled the gig. And then of course the club owner wasn't too happy because, he wasn't going to make his money. But we lost out también, and we lost a real good friend.
Do you have a special memory of Selena that you can remember where y'all worked together, or maybe a conversation or something like that?
The after parties after the TTMAs, was the last one that we saw her. And we had our family with us. I remember my son and Adam's son, Anthony and little David, taking a picture with her, and that was before that big accident.
Wow. David Lee, you have your own record label. Talk to me about this.
DLG Records have 2 labels. Joey and I have another one called J-Rod Music. And excited, nowadays, anybody can have their own label. And then we get calls from other bands saying, hey, are you recording anybody? And I said, well, what do you mean recording anybody? He said, well, you got a record company. I said, I have a record label. I don't have a studio and all, but it's just nice to say, what, after all these years, we have something to show, this is my record label, and that's what I've been recording on here for the last 10 years.
Good for you. Congratulations on your record label.
Thank you.
Now, David Lee, you have a brand new CD coming out in a couple of weeks. Talk to me about this.
Yes, it's called 2715, 2715, and you're going to ask, why 2715? I think this is our 27th project. It's our 27th CD in the year 2015. So it's a very good CD. We're featuring our new vocalist, Cesar Martinez. He's a guy from Robstown, and a young guy, but he shows a lot of promise, and he loves what he does is sing. And when he came on the Musicales, we recorded this CD, and everybody's excited, really, and we're excited to put it out. So you'll be hearing the brand new CD, the Los Musicales, here real soon on Robert Rivas Radio.
No, you also have a DVD out, ¿verdad?
I did a project called Just Friends, and we're very lucky, very blessed that we won a Grammy with that CD. So we did a DVD of the vocalist, so that people that don't come out to our performances anymore would see who Jesse Serrata was, or who Adalberto was, or Eddie Perez, or Gary Hobbs. A lot of people say, we've always heard these guys' music, but we don't know what they look like. Well, this was an opportunity to hear great music on Just Friends and see them perform.
Wait, David Lee, one thing that I get a kick out of with you guys, man, and I've seen it several times, and this coming weekend is part of it, is that we'll get to that in just a minute, is that I can remember one year where you guys were not going to be a part of the Poteet Strawberry Festival. So what do you guys do? You do your own festival in Poteet. You do your own dance out there. You say, you know what? They don't want to invite us this year. We'll do our own deal.
Yeah, no, I don't know what year that was, but yeah, that happened.
I'm going to say 2003, 2004, right around there somewhere.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But there's plenty for everybody. There's plenty of fans and the crowd that comes out to Strawberry Festival. There's plenty for everybody. But we're very blessed now that for the past 8 or 10 years, they have been honoring us by having us there on Strawberry Festival. So this year we're going to play on Friday night at the Strawberry Festival. And I tell Joey, my manager, I said, Joey, if they call you and tell you that they want us to play, tell them that there's a lot of bands that want to go play at Strawberry Festival. Go ahead and hire them. It's okay with me. And then Joey comes back and says, no, Dave. The committee says he's from Poteet. He's going to play here every year.
And that makes sense. It really, really does. When you think Poteet, you think Strawberries and David Lee Garza. Automatically. Now, speaking of events, that's what I'm saying. This weekend we have a lot of stuff going on here in San Antonio, but you know what? You're throwing on your own event at El Fuerte. Did I get that right?
That's right.
El Fuerte, formerly T-Town. And Joey tells me, Robert, going out to this weekend, man, check us out. And I said, man, Joey, if I go out there, dude, I'm going to start thinking about T-Town, como a llorar y todo lo alto, put on my T-Town shirt. What's going on this Saturday night?
Saturday night will be at El Fuerte, Club El Fuerte. We do this once a year. Every time the fanfare comes into town, and our friends at TTMA, they're cool with us, and we put this event, and they don't mind, and we try to change it up every year. I mean, this year we're having Ruben Ramos, the Mexican Revolution, and Jimmy Lee Tentacion. They're good friends from Beeville, Texas. Tiene conjunto, you got orquesta, and then you got Los Musicales.
Do you plan on retiring anytime soon?
What's that? I tell my friends that are retiring now, that my schoolmates that we graduated together, they're around the age to start retiring, and they ask me the same question. Hey, are you ever going to retire? And I tell them, you know what? I've been retired. When you were working, I was retired, and I'm still retired, and I'm still working.
Have you ever heard the saying, my mom would always throw this at me, and she would tell me when I was doing the DJing and promoting, she would tell me, mijo, you got to get a real job. Have you ever heard of that, Tony? You got to get a real job.
Definitely, yeah, yes. Back in the day when I was still married, my ex-wife, she would tell me, okay, it would be like after the awards show on a Sunday, right? The Tejano Music Awards were on a Sunday. And Monday morning came, and she has to get up and go to work, and she would tell me, okay, Mr. Award Winner, you need to get up and cut the grass, take the trash out. And I said, okay. So I do it, and yeah, she would always tell me, when are you going to get a real job? And I said, well, this is a real job.
Okay, I said, hey, Mr. Award Winner, go take out the trash and make me breakfast, Mr. Award Winner. That's a funny story. This is David Lee. I'm not laughing, Robert.
Isn't that funny, Robert?
Oye, David Lee, there's so much talk right now about Tejano music. What's going on with Tejano music? What happened to Tejano music? What's going on with Tejano music, David Lee, in your opinion?
Tejano music is here. It's still here. Tejano has not died. We took a long vacation. No te creas. Pero no, Tejano music is alive, and bands are still here. Maybe the venues, we changed a lot of venues. The venues shut down, closed down. So maybe that's what happened a lot of times. We had real big clubs for the longest time, and then they start closing and going to doing other things. So, and that's maybe people think of it as, oh wow, Tejano music is dying. It's not dying. We're still here, and you'll always hear a new club opening every week somewhere here, especially in San Antonio.
What does David Lee do on his off time?
Monday nights is my bowling night. Wednesdays is kind of like golf day.
That's it.
I've got a Harley Davidson. I jump on the Harley, and if I don't play on the weekend, we try to plan something with my friends, and take a ride out to Luling, Lockhart, Fredericksburg. Take a little ride out there, and then just release some stress on your bike.
You know what, David Lee? Nowadays, you have to be very, very, man. I swear to God, man, it seems like every day on the news, van y matan a alguien. Somebody gets killed, man, riding a motorcycle.
Yeah, they're very dangerous, of course. And we like I say, we live out there in the country, but it doesn't matter, country or in the city. It's very dangerous. You got to be alert. You got to always be on looking out for the other guy.
Are there any certain Tejano bands? Not even today, but we'll go back to the day. Certain Tejano bands that you said, you know what, that's a good band.
Of course, the ones that I started listening to when I was little, Junto Bernal, Los Chachos, Ramón Ayala, Cornelio Reina, Los Relámpagos, Los Cachorros, Hermanos Villarreal, that are still friends of ours. Those bands, man, I still look up to them every day. And I'd like to thank my compadre Roberto Pulido de Los Clásicos. He's the one that actually took us under his wing and took us to go play in Houston, Dallas, in the Valley, West Texas. If it wasn't for him, I think we'd still be playing bodas and quinceañeras in Poteet.
How did you feel about Joe Lopez when he was given his sentence of 20 years in jail? I ask you this because there's talk right now that he may be up for parole next year.
Very sad. It was very sad, playing a lot of years alongside Grupo Mas, and to hear something like that, it was very sad for us, but who are we to judge,
I know that I had asked you about Tejano music, what's going on with Tejano music. Don't you think that Tejano music has taken a lot of hits, like the Emilio accident, the Selena, the passing away of Selena, the Joe Lopez? I mean, how many hits can Tejano music take?
As many as they want. As many as they want to put out. It was very tragic stories like that you mentioned, But when Selena passed away, that put a dent in us, in our hearts and everything. But what do? We can't just roll over, play dead. We have to keep on going.
That's right. Any last words for your fans out there?
Just thank them so much for being our fans for so many years. We look forward to many, many more years. Don't want to retire just yet.
Atta boy. And now, it's the one on the lighter side here. David Lee, have you and Marcos Orozco ever gone and played golf against each other?
I don't want to play with him. It's too good, man. When we first started picking up the golf clubs, myself and my brother Richard, we'd take him with us on the road, and when we'd end up in a place, always remember over there in West Texas. And one day we got up and said, let's go play golf, brother. And I said, okay. And Marcos heard us, and he said, I'm going to go with you. I want to see what all this golf is about. So we took him with us and gave him a club. Look, this is a club. You hold it like this, and you hit the ball like this. Oh, he hit one ball, and he says, you know what? I like this sport. I'm going to master it someday. And we looked at each other. Yeah, whatever, okay, sure. They don't know. Compadre Marcos, he's an excellent golfer, man. He plays real good, and we enjoy playing with him. He comes out to my golf tournament, and we'll play at Ruben Ramos' golf tournament. We'll see each other over there, and they're very competitive.
Awesome. David Lee, thank you for being part of Robert Rivas Radio.
Thank you so much, Robert, and we'll see you next time.